Welcome to Module 3, and in Module 3 we're going to get our first experience with SmartPLS and build the measurement model on a data set. And let me change the format here to where I'm sharing my screen. Okay, and you should be able to see my screen now. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes, I'll speak for you first, Ellen. Yes.
That's good. That's a positive sign. Okay, so our SLP assignment, hopefully you can read that. We're going to test this data set, and you have two hypotheses in your data set. And that is H1, organizational commitment is positively related to organizational citizenship behavior. And H2, job satisfaction mediates the relationship between organizational commitment and organizational citizenship behavior. And then, so the first part of the assignment is to run this in PLS and then download the results. The second part of the assignment is to then use those results that you exported in case assignment number 1, which is just writing up your report. Let me, okay, and I've already started PLS, so that wouldn't slow us down any. And by the way, if you have any questions, let me know as we go. And Priscilla, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat box, and then we can look at them there. Okay, so what you want to do first is select Start New Project, and then we'll give that project a name, and we'll call it RES603. February 17th. Okay, so once you do that, you'll see it pop up over here, and then right above it, double click to import data. So we're going to do that, and now we're going to go to the place where I stuck it. When you download the file, then you'll need to put it somewhere, and I put it right there. If you're creating your own file, you have to remember to put it in a CSV file, and then in Excel, remove all any missing data, replace that before you run it in PLS, because PLS is not friendly to missing items. Okay, and then it's there. Usually it takes a second to process it right off the bat. So you see here, there's all your items, and that's your descriptives on each of the questions that you had. All right. What we're going to do next is go to our path model, and we're just going to click right there. And what we want to do is there it goes. It just didn't want to go there when I single clicked it. Okay, so now we have our path model here, and we have to build it. So the first thing you want to do is stick some variables in there. So latent variable, we're going to stick this one in. No, bear with me. I'm doing this as I was talking with Michael earlier. I'm having to do everything left-handed right now, and so sometimes I click the wrong direction on the button. You see this comes out as latent variable 1. What we're going to do is we're going to rename that. We're going to call it OC. All right, and then let's put a second one in there. And let's call that one job satisfaction. And let's put a third one in there. We'll name that one organizational citizenship behavior. So there's our variables. The next thing we need to do is put in our indicators. So here for OC, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can drag them one at a time, or you can click the first one and use your shift key and click the last one, and then all your indicators are highlighted, and then left click on that and bring it right over. All right. You can also, what we'll do this in just a second for jobs. So the other way you can do it is you can just drag them one at a time and stick them there. If you drag them out of order, they'll be out of order because they just line up in the order you drag them over there. Okay, and then our last one here is OCB. Okay, hang on a minute. And we'll drag those over. Well, we'll try to drag those over. There we go. Now, if you go to the select tool, all right, and then it's important you use the select tool, because if you don't, when you click it, you're going to stick another latent variable on top of that one. But you can right click, all right, and right here, align indicators top, align left, around bottom, align right. Let's align those to the right. That gets them out of the way. And let's go to this one, and let's align those to the bottom. And like I said before, if you inadvertently click somewhere you shouldn't, you'll stick something there you shouldn't have. So we're just going to hit the delete key and make that go away. The last thing we need to do is we need to connect these. Okay, so our first hypothesis was that OC is related to OCB. Our second one is that OC is a job satisfaction mediates that relationship. So we take one from OC to job satisfaction and another like that. So now we have job satisfaction mediating the relationship between organizational commitment and organizational citizenship behavior. And that's our model. Now you see they changed from red to blue as soon as I had everything connected. And that lets you know that you have a complete model and you can run your test. So once we have our model, the first thing we want to do is the measurement model, which is our assignment this time. So we're going to go to calculate. And there's two places you can do it. You can use the consistent PLS algorithms here, or you can just use PLS. The consistent is supposed to be a little bit more accurate, but it has some other things with it, and one of them is it has to be reflective. These are all reflective. If you had a formative construct in there, you'd have to use the regular PLS. Let's go ahead and use regular PLS algorithm. Now, one thing I always do is I'll crank up this number of iterations, because the more you run, the more accurate it's going to be. And we're going to do factor analysis on this one. And let's run it. Okay, and so it's ran. Now let's just go back and take a look at our model, and you see now that all our numbers are filled in. Let's just do a surface look at this. And these outer loadings, if you remember when you did regular SPSS, your outer loadings had to be at least 3. A little different rules when you're working with PLS, because there's an upper and a lower. So if it's at least 0.7, it's good. If it's less than 0.4, you need to delete it. If it's between 0.7 and 0.4, then you evaluate it based on its effect on AVE. All right, so just looking down the surface on this one, 0.6, a little low, but in the ballpark. These are all above 0.7, 658, that's probably okay. 0.2, that's pretty low, and that goes to OC9. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and hit our select tool. We're going to select OC9 and just make it go away. And let's run it again. And you kind of go back and forth at first here while you're getting your model refined. Okay, now we've got everything's pretty okay there. On this side, we are 0.5, one's a little low, but we'll leave it for now. Everything here is 0.4 above, we'll leave it for now. So let's go to the next part where we look at our output over here. Okay, also one thing I want you to notice, you can change what it shows. Right now, the inner model here is showing the path coefficients. I usually Well, that's okay. We hadn't run the bootstrapping yet. And our constructs, those numbers in here, those are R square. That's how much of the variance is explained by the other one. Now, the measurement model, we're really worried about this area here, this area here, and this area here. What we're not concerned about is the inside of this model. The inner model, that's the structural model. The outer model, that's where we're refining our hypotheses. So if we go to our algorithm where we ran it, I usually go first to construct reliability and validity down here at the bottom, if you can see that. And I wish this was a little bit bigger so you could see it better. But if you look around here, OCB, the Cronbach's alpha is 0.86. That's above 0.7. That's good. The row alpha is above 0.7. That's good. The composite reliability is 0.89. That's good. And that's what you want. And one of the things, if you're using, I'm not sure how it is in the free version, but in the current version, if it's good, it paints it green. If it may not be good, it paints it red. Okay, so our AVE, that's the average variance extracted. You want that to be 0.5. The most important two numbers in here are the composite reliability, because that's a better measure of reliability than Cronbach's alpha in structural equation modeling, and the AVE. Now, you see in job satisfaction, we're at 0.499. We'd like to be a little bit bigger, so let's look at that at job satisfaction. And that's down here. Okay, we've got 0.462, 0.427. Let's go ahead and take JS12, which is the lowest one, and get rid of it. And let's run it again. Okay, and now we're good. Now we're at 0.584. So now we have a model that meets the requirements. We've got good AVE, we've got good composite reliability. The rest of these things we're not really concerned about. The outer weights. This is just showing it in a way you might be more familiar with. These are weights, not factor loadings. If we went to, and the weights, if you were doing a formative model, then you would know the weight of each item. Outer loadings, this puts it in that type format. And you can see that some of these, if we do the loadings, then this is as if you were looking at it in SPSS right here. So you can see that JS1 is JS11 is 0.377 on the outer loading, but if we look at it in our model itself, it's still that. Okay, let's make that go away. That dropped when we ran it again. Let's do that one more time. Because below 0.4, you really don't want to keep it. And let's go to our outer loadings again. Okay, 0.6, yes, okay. 0.5, that's okay. Now everything's above 0.4. The biggest thing is if you're above, if you have some that are below 0.7, what you want to look at is the effect on AVE. We'll make sure the AVE is above 0.5. If your AVE is above 0.5, then having some indicators that are a little bit lower, 0.7, that's okay. If your AVE is below 0.5, then you want to delete that lowest value and see if you can make it a little bit better. Okay, we're good there. If we go to discriminant validity, what you're looking for here is that the measure here is higher than the other measures. So these are all higher than on anything else. So we're good there. We have good discriminant validity. And that's pretty much it. Now, let's talk about a couple of more things. One of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save your model. Okay, and the way you do that, if you want to save this image, you come up here to File and come down to Export Image to File, and then it's going to open up. And then what you have to do is tell it where you want it to go. We're going to put it there, and we're going to call that RES603. February 17th measurement model. We'll save that. And there it is. So that's the picture. What you have is a PNG of that model. Okay. And that's saved over there. Now for the report, what you want to do here is you want to export that to Excel. So let's just click export to Excel, start export. We'll just leave that name on it because that's what it's saving. And we'll put that in the same folder. RES3 files. We'll save that right there. And what it's doing is building an Excel file with that name and it's sticking it in the folder you told it to stick it in. And then it's also going to open up. So here is your Excel file. I probably should have named that MM for measurement model. All right. Now what you do on this, like if you want to see the construct reliability and reliability, you just click show. All right. And then it opens up and you see everything that you had in the other screen. We go down, there's our discriminant validity. There's cross loadings if you want to see those. Collinarity statistics. So you've got everything that run put out is in this printout. So there's the outer model weights, there's the indicator, data by indicator. So you just got a lot of information here. And it's all, everything that you did when you click that button, it ran the report. Everything that it spit out is in that file. And let's see. Take that one away. Actually, the quality criteria. I'm going to go down and find that one. We usually go right to it this time. There we go. Quality criteria, construct reliability. There's that file there. Now, if you wanted to display that, this is an Excel file, right? So we're just going to copy that. And let's just bring it into another page here. And then we'll paste it in. And I'm going to make this a lot bigger so you can see what I'm doing. Because you won't want to just stick it in like this. You'll want to format it a little bit. So first off, what I usually do is I'll just select the whole thing and turn all the writing the same color. I'll remove all the fill behind it. Okay, in the table here, what I'll do is on all of these, I'll wrap text. All right, and then open it up a little bit so that it looks a little better. Okay, and the other thing you want to do is on your first on your top row, on your border, you want to select top and bottom. Where is it at? Top and bottom border. All right. On your bottom row, you want to go with just a bottom border. Okay, and then let's just take this out. You know, first, because it looks like I've got other stuff. First, let's take it all to no border. There we go. And then let's go across the top and do our top and bottom border and go across that bottom row. Do our bottom border only. All right, and then let me open up a new Word document. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this. You know what? Let's do one more thing. Let's make it all not bold. Now, let's copy it. Bring our Word document over. And then wherever we want to insert it in the Word document, we'll just paste it in there. And now what you have is a table that's formatted to APA 7, and all you have to do is just insert the table heading. And that's how you do that part. And then when you want to insert your, let's bring that back up. Okay. And let's say you want to insert your figure, then you just insert, make it bigger. All right, insert a picture from this device. Folder where we stuck everything. And insert it. And here we have our figure. And so that's how you want to do things when you're building your case assignment. Then just open up use your picture. Also open up your report here. And what you have in here, this is your navigation pane. This is the whole report. This is, if you want to use any charts, it's the ones that it automatically creates. So it gives you a lot of information. And that is how you run the measurement model. And it's also how you output your reports, output your picture of your model, and then use all that to build your paper with. And so first, I'm going to have any questions on that part, and then I'm going to do a couple of more steps to show you how to move from there into the structural model. Any questions? Okay. The next thing you want to do is come back to your original model here, calculate, and you're going to run bootstrapping. And for bootstrapping, we're going to use same thing. I'll always jack it up to about 5,000. We'll switch to path, and let's start our calculations. This will take a second to run because when we wanted to run 5,000 samples, it had to actually run all those short data sets, so it went fast. Okay, so what we see here is on our p-values from job satisfaction. I wish I could make this bigger, but I can't, so I'm going to read it to you. From job satisfaction to organizational citizenship behavior, that was significant. From organizational commitment to job satisfaction, that was significant. From organizational commitment to organizational citizenship behavior, that was not significant. It was greater than 0.09. But let's go through a couple of these, and the tutorials will show you how to do all this, but let's just run through just a couple of these things. If we go to our total indirect effects, all right, now we see that we have a significant indirect effect from OC to OCB, all right, and that's the only indirect we had. If we go to our total effects, we see that everything is significant. Okay, now the reason that's different is because if we go back to our model here, And let's change what it says on the inner model. Instead of giving t-values, let's have the path coefficient and the p-values. And that's the same thing as the beta and the p-value when you did it in SPSS. And on the constructs, let's leave that as r squared. Although it's not giving us an r squared here, okay? And the outer model, let's leave that on the, it makes it kind of cluttered, but that gives you the p-value and the outer loading. And you'd have to actually spread stuff out a little bit for that to be useful to you. So let's just change it back. We could even just leave it blank. Okay, that way we've only got our inner stuff. So what that's telling you, when it says you have an indirect effect from here to here, all right, that means if we're not looking at this part of the model and we've only got that bivariate relationship right there, all right, that's the indirect effect that's significant. But when you stick that mediator in there, that relationship becomes non-significant, that indirect effect, and your direct effect becomes where it's going through. So that the part that we saw in the indirect effect was H1. The part we saw in the final model where this became non-significant, that's telling you that job satisfaction does mediate that relationship. So that's the test of that hypothesis. So running through that bootstrap and run one more time real quick. And the reason it didn't give us r squared was because I didn't click the right button to set to give us everything. I just asked for the path analysis. So we'll try that again. So here we have the total effects, that's all pass, all right. The total indirect effects, that tells you that that's the indirect effect, the one that was mediated away. And the path coefficients, that tells you the full model, that this became non-sufficient significant and everything's running through the job satisfaction relationship. So that's how you would run that. Let's go back over here and let's run that bootstrap again and see what I didn't check. All right. Okay, I want complete bootstrapping instead of basic. That's what I forgot to run. Let's run that again. And we have to wait while it's running all these. That's why it ran so fast last time. The more cases you have and the more samples you ask, the longer it takes, but the more accurate your results are. Okay, so now we've got that, but you see we have a lot more stuff available down here. So if we go to our model now you see those R squares filled in. So 60%, 61% of the variance in job satisfaction is explained by variance in organizational commitment. 37% of the variance in organizational citizenship behavior is explained by this model, by the whole model. And so that's pretty much how you do it. When you get in and play with it, you'll want to go in the bootstrapping. You want to go in and look at everything and just kind of figure out what is all this stuff telling us. And when you go to the model fit's not that big of a deal in PLS. They added it just because everybody wanted it, but it doesn't mean a whole lot because it doesn't depend on model fit like Amos does. But if you click these, they'll give you some model fit. The SRMR, hang on just a second. That's the more reliable of the one, but it's not really that big of a deal. Most people don't bother with it. It's something new they added with this last one. But that's pretty much it. Are there any questions on how to run? And you export the same way. If you want to take this picture, you just go to File, Export Image to File. To save the bootstrap and run, you export to Excel. across the top right here, you'll see that this is the first run we did that was the basic run. This is the second bootstrap we did that had everything in it. This was the last algorithm run that we ran. So you've got everything up here. Okay. Any questions?
Okay, yes, I have a question. This is probably a very stupid question. So I haven't really looked at the case and the SLP yet until we had tonight, the video. Where are we getting the data set from? Okay, yes, I see. I can't hear you if you're talking, but yes, I see.
Okay, I muted my microphone. Let's do that again. But you see, I scroll down here and you click that link to download your data set. You'll need to save it in your computer before you can upload it to the PLS. And then build the model, run the assessment of the model using PLS algorithm, confirm the model ran correctly, computing all the tests you identified in the module 2 SLP, and then export the PLS output to Excel and upload the resulting file to the Dropbox. And then copy the measurement model into a Word document so you can use it in the case assignment. And then the case assignment is just to take all that analysis you just did and build it into a report as if it was that section of chapter 4 of your dissertation.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's pretty much it. It's not really, once you play with it a little bit, it's not that complicated. It's a pretty basic thing, but when you've never done it before, it can be a little bit intimidating just to know how to run it. The first time I went in to run it, I was lost. I had to watch a couple of videos before I really understood what I was doing, but then it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. But if you do run into any problems, or if anybody that's not watching right now, you run into problems, let me know, and we'll work through it. We'll even set up a second live session if we need to walk through it. And then, or we can touch it in the, because next week we have the live session for module 4 when you do the structural model, and we can look at it again there as well. Okay, if there's no more questions, that will wrap it up. I just need to stop the recording. Anything else? Priscilla, you didn't type anything, so I'm assuming you got all this. But if you didn't, be sure and email me and let me know. And same thing, Michael. So,
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
okay, you too. And I'll see you all next week.